Lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Sammy's Grill on Highland Road, welcome to the Thursday edition, the draft day edition of Live at Lunch. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, Charles Hannegriff, Jimmy Ott, Jordan Kitchens back in the studio. Colucci and Humans from Las Vegas today as they get ready for the NFL draft, such as it is. Will be a Don Juan Cigar Bar tonight for our broadcast with most of the staff will be there tonight. We got a couple out, but most of the staff will be there tonight, and we're waiting to see. But you want to talk about the calmest I have ever seen, Jimmy, in the lead up to the draft, as far as moves or lack thereof, and even the scuttlebutt. Usually we've got a pretty good idea by this time. You know, what are we 7 hours to the draft, 8 hours to the draft. We know who the number one pick's going to be. Well, we know that this year. And usually we've got a pretty good handle on the next 2 or 3, sometimes, 4 picks. But there's usually been some movement. There's usually been a trade. I mean, you got to go back 30-plus years to where there hasn't been a trade. And there's also usually a pivot point in the first round where things can start to go off the rails from where most of the mocks think that they're going to be. This year has been so remarkably quiet. There have been no deals.
Yeah, well,
and there's not a lot of quarterbacks that once you get past Cam Ward that are sparking the desire to move up. I don't know that there's that one it guy, maybe Ashton Genty, but that there are multiple teams that want to kind of jockey for position because he's one of one. You know, the running back position kind of drops off after that. There's multiple offensive and defensive linemen that are going to go between 3 if you count Abdul Carter, 3 and probably 20. So you don't feel the need maybe to move up if you've got to have one of those guys at those positions. There's multiple to choose from. Maybe one of the tight ends. If Tyler Warren comes off the board in the top 10 picks, maybe Denver makes a move for Loveland. But it's just really, really quiet leading up to the draft.
7 years ago today at this time, Baker Mayfield was 28-1 to go the first round.
And when did he start to drop? How long before the draft was it that day? You remember that better than I do.
2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
At
11 o'clock in the morning on that day, Sam Darnold was the favorite to go number one?
Yes, minus $3.
Okay. And
yes,
so it
at
changed.
This time, 7 year, yeah.
Okay. And and there were 4 quarterbacks that went in the top 10 that year, right? That was the Josh Rosen and Josh Allen year, right? Those were both
I believe so.
in that same draft.
The thing I remember the report too. We were actually doing a draft show at the casino, and I was on the way over, and the reporter who reported it, covered his rear end and said that there reports out of Cleveland, there's a chance that Baker Mayfield could be the number one pick. Well, there's a chance, but they were, you got to be happy. That was one of our draft parties where we were giving out door prizes, and people saw about picks 24 through 32. They're getting on Twitter ahead of me beforehand, so they all got it. But that was. That was Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Yeah, those guys. Saquon Barkley.
Yeah. You know what else about that draft that ended up being so ironic? Houston traded down with Cleveland that year. And Cleveland had the 4th pick in addition to the first pick, and they ended up taking Denzel Ward out of Ohio State. The ironic part of it is that Houston traded back in that round and drafted Deshaun Watson, who would eventually end up screwing Cleveland royally on this deal. So all the chickens came home to roost on that one.
So that was the Trubisky draft too?
No,
I
that
thought
was
Trubisky was Deshaun Watson.
No, that
Deshaun Watson was 20.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was the trade the pick that they got back. They traded for it was the next year that they got Deshaun Watson.
Oh, okay.
It was from Cleveland. It wasn't the same year.
Yeah,
That's right.
No, I
that's
thought
right.
I remember that because, how'd you take a guy from the same conference that was so much better for a longer period of time? Watson had an injury, multiple injuries, I believe, coming out, but. My goodness, and what we've seen recently out of Deshaun Watson he was really, really good. He was a great pro, and Trubisky not so much. Josh Rosen was
in that draft.
In that draft, so that was Marcus Davenport went to 14.
Ugh. Oh gosh,
14.
We did the draft.
Derwin James was available when the Saints picked.
Oh gosh, I mean, who? There was somebody else that we really liked, and I'm trying to remember who it was. But no, there was a lot of angst about the Saints moving up. I remember we did the draft show from the hotel that night. There were a number of other people that they could. That was also the Lamar Jackson draft. He went at the end of the first round.
He had a guy like Drew Brees at that time.
No, I didn't mean for the Saints. I just mean that was the Lamar Jackson draft.
Yeah.
So you got. All right, so there is a rumor going on around right now. There's a lot of rumors going around right now, but this one involves the Saints. You ready for this one? That the Saints may, and you're going to scoff as soon as I say it, so just let me finish. That the Saints may trade back in the first round a short piece so that they can acquire additional picks to move back into the first round and take a quarterback, be that be that Jackson Dart. I don't think it's Shadur Sanders. It could be Tyler Shugg. There's a little bit of momentum there. This works only if there's a team that wants to trade up. That trade could be the Colts. If the Colts desperately want a tight end, desperately, they're sitting at 14. If Tyler Warren comes off the board at, say, 7 to the Jets or 10 to the Bears, well, 10 to the Bears doesn't work, 7 to the Jets, then the Colts could want to jump up to get Cortland Loveland from Michigan before anybody else snakes them, most likely Denver. The Saints would be willing to trade back 5 spots. What would a trade 5 spots back net them? Well, went to my old draft chart, the one that Jimmy Johnson made popular but has been updated. The Saints pick at number 1 is worth the Colts pick at 14 plus their 3rd and 4th round picks. That's 80 and 117. Would you trade back 5 spots to pick up an extra 3rd and 4th round pick?
Absolutely.
I would in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Because there's nobody I have to have at number 9.
And I want to be fair. The Saints never, always moving up, never moving back. That's we faith, hope in Mickey Loomis. I get it, but we crush him. But I don't put all that on Mickey Loomis. I'm sorry. That to me, that is all our boy, Mr. Sean Payton. And now they haven't moved down since Payton's gone, so we're building a larger sample size. But I don't put all that on Mickey Loomis.
I put a lot of it on Sean Payton as well. I think they're of a like mindset when it comes to trading up, because a lot of the pre-draft scuttlebutt in the last couple of days has been about Denver moving up. Well, that's Sean Payton. He's not the general manager there either, but he got plenty input. Now, is it to move up for Amari Hampton, a running back out of North Carolina? Is it to move up for Cortland Loveland, a tight end out of Michigan? Both of those guys may not be there when the Broncos draft, and they may look to move up. I could see
him getting antsy with Hampton.
Yeah. The Broncos are sitting at 20. I'm sorry, 20, and the Steelers at 21. I could see them moving up in either one of those spots. And if they want their tight end of choice, they got to get in front of the Colts. Now, I don't think the Saints would move back as far as 20. I would be surprised, but just for fun,
with their roster, it would be one of the more sensible things that's come out of that front office in a while.
Absolutely. That would probably net you Denver's 2nd round pick and Denver's 4th round pick So to move back 11 spots, you would get a 2 and a 4 and probably a late pick in next year's draft. I don't think they trade you 3 in this year's draft. So say 2, 4, and a 6 in next year's draft. Would you do that deal? And I think we both would do that deal.
Yeah, I'm moving back. Denver, by the way, was this was earlier in the week. I'm kind of tracking this. Minus 136 to take a running back. Now they're minus 150. So that's moved a little bit in that direction. Wide receiver has stayed the same at 4-1 plus 400. I think tight end is more of a that's still 10-1 right now for Denver. So that's worth a pop. I mean, they may not be projecting. But I talked to Brandon Stokely about 2 weeks ago, and I said, Denver's need a running back. He said, and a tight end. So he thinks it's going to be one of those two. Brandon was the guy that said, hey, Sean Payton's going to get a quarterback last year. Did he move up to get Nix last year?
Did he move?
I want to say they did.
Gosh.
No. Or he just they just.
I got to check to see if that was a move up or not. I don't remember.
Or did they stay? I know it was kind of early for Knicks, but now Penix went earlier.
Penix went at 8, and
he went like 12 or 14.
Knicks went at I thought it was 11. It was 11, but it might have been 12. And then you had J.J. McCarthy go there as well. I think that Peyton is in play to make a move for sure, and which one of those guys that is, I can't tell you for sure. No, they had the 12th pick. It was the 12th pick that they got,
and they stayed at 12.
It was the Vikings that moved up to 10. To take McCarthy.
And so, who had 11?
The Jets. They ended up taking the tight end.
Okay,
the tackle
they had Mr.
Aaron
Drama.
Yeah, they had Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
A couple other teams that we're watching. The Dolphins, who have been a strong candidate to take an offensive lineman and still could. The Jalen Ramsey move. The Jalen Ramsey story earlier this week has put cornerback in play for them, particularly if the Raiders end up taking an offensive lineman, if Genty's off the board. Genty's been mocked to the Raiders in a lot of places. In the last couple of days, that's shifted to Genty going to the Jaguars. If the Raiders, with Genty off the board, take an offensive lineman, and the top 3 linemen then are off the board when Miami picks, they could go for a corner, and Will Johnson from Michigan.
Here's one out of Denver. They do say that as of April 24th, which is today, they're comfortable staying at number 20 or moving back if they can acquire more draft capital.
That sounds like a smokescreen, doesn't
it? That's a lie.
Yeah,
yeah.
I was thinking about just straight disinformation. I did get I did have one play that I kind of like that I made yesterday. This is a little bit risky, but it always is with the draft. The Cowboys to take a running back with their first pick, wherever it ends up being, was a little bit better than 2-1. And obviously Genty's going to be the first running back off, or I think he's going to be the first running back off the board. But if the Jaguars instead go with Ted McMillan at number 5, and of course, Liam Cohen, their coach,
5.
It seems high to me too, but the link there is that Liam Cohen, who's in Tampa for a while, views him as a Mike Evans, and certainly wants to give.
That would be a high end comp. Yeah, I mean stylistically, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean he's a big guy. I mean about the same size, huh?
Big, yeah, 6'5", 6'4".
What is McMillan?
He's 6'5".
Okay.
He's they look a lot alike. Is he going to have that same kind of career? I don't know.
Probably not.
But
that's his comp.
Evans is going to Hall of Fame, so I get it. I'm certainly rooting for that.
So you're looking at Dallas? You saying
Dallas to take a running
right
back
now? Running back is 10-1.
Yeah, I said 2-1. I was thinking about a different odds. Yeah,
They're
10-1.
They were earlier in the week. They were minus 140 to take a wide receiver. Now minus 182. Offensive lineman is second. It was plus 450. Now plus 300. But yeah, running back right now 10-1.
What I like about it is if Genty goes off the board, I'm still not out of it. Hampton at 12 to the Cowboys isn't out of the realm of possibility. So I feel like I got a couple of outs there with Dallas at 12 with the running back. I made three plays. It was Dallas for a running back, the Rams for a quarterback late in the first round, and the Saints for a defensive lineman.
Okay. I got the Saints defensive line edge. They're lumped together.
They are
when you bet them,
and it's a little bit better than I got a little bit better than even money. Plus 110 is where I'm at.
I've got Saints defensive line edge as well. So Max has a bunch of picks. We're live here.
Max has a portfolio.
Yeah,
remember
Sammy's Grill started when I was in college, 1988. Over here at Sammy's Grill, the original, my very first sponsor back in the day, Mr. Sammy Nagum, the original owner here. So our buddies, Mr. Fritz and Kevin and the great staff, Dano over here at Sammy's Grill. I was here last night eating crawfish, Charlie.
Yeah,
boiled crawfish, absolutely. So you can start off with the gumbo etouffee or red beans. I love the white beans over here. You get it with the fried pork chop. The fried pork chops that give you, and it is a plate. I mean, it is a bowl of red beans or white beans that you get with your pork chop. Start off with our appetizers, everything from the coach's plate. It's been around forever to the chicken tenders. Buffalo wings are outstanding. Blackened or fried alligator and pepper jack boudin egg rolls are really, really good. And everybody talks about the jumbo mozzarella sticks. They've been around here forever with the marinara sauce at Sammy's as well. Entrees, talked about the red beans and pork chops. You can substitute white beans. Got the catfish in white beans as well. Blackened chicken pasta, grilled bayou catfish, seared tuna, pepper jack chicken is a favorite over here at Sammy's Grill. Po' boys, burgers, sandwiches, you name it. Always got LSU baseball on over here wherever you are in the whether we're in the bar side, but on the more family side, on the other side as well. So a patio dining is available along Highland Road with the weather, so that's an optional as well. Sammy's Grill, don't forget their newest location where we did the show from last time. That's on Old Perkins Road at Airline in Prairieville. So, and we have boiled crawfish that starts at noon Monday through Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm sorry, flip-flop. Yeah. 5 p.m. on Monday through Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, starting at noon. And how long are we doing them? Probably through Father's Day. So we'll do the boiled crawfish over here at Sammy's Grill.
Live at Sammy's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny. Live from Sammy's Grill on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And we're brought to you in part by Louisiana Health and Injury Centers, helping you deal with pain. Dr. Michael Goff and his staff getting those ailments done, those back pains, neck pain, the things that are keeping you from getting around, keeping you from getting a good night's sleep. They've helped our family numerous times. Target those problem areas, get you into a program, some exercises and stretches that'll get you loosened up a little bit. And then if you got to graduate into a dry needle, electric nerve stimulation, cryo, ultrasound therapy, they can help you out. Airline Highway, Plank Road, Jefferson Highway near Drusilla. Dr. Michael Goff, Louisiana Health and Injury Centers. Draft stuff. Shedeur Sanders' numbers have changed pretty significantly, and Max has got some news. He's off camera if you're watching on YouTube, but he's got some news on Ashton Genty and his odds as well, Max.
Yeah, we'll start with Genty. There's been some movement here. He has been locked into that fifth pick. He's minus 230 still to go, number 5 overall. But what's changed is maybe which team will be taking him. We're seeing some positioning that suggests that maybe the Bears will trade up with Jacksonville to take him at 5. They are currently pretty much a pick-em between the two teams, the Bears and the Jaguars, to actually take Ashton Genty. So we could see that move. The thought there would be that Jacksonville might trade back to 10 and end up getting Tet McMillan, the wide receiver who they've been rumored to get. We've seen those odds at number 10 change quite a bit now as well. Tet McMillan at 4-1 to go 10th overall. So maybe we'll see the Bears move up to 5 to get their running back.
Let's start with Genty, okay? And his odds earlier, it was kind of, Charlie, it was basically a pick of -115 to be taken 5th overall and to be taken 6th overall.
Yeah.
The exact same. So is Jacksonville going to pass on another Michigan defensive lineman like they did a couple of years ago and blew that one? Or are they going to give another toy to Trevor Lawrence, to try and help him out with their commitment there? So I thought that was interesting. But Maxie's shifted to -230 now as the 5th pick. So
yeah, -230, 5th pick. But specifically for the team itself, that's where we're seeing the player drafted by currently at DraftKings, the Queen. Jaguars are -125 to draft Genty, but the Bears are -105 now. That's changed drastically in the last couple hours.
Okay, so the Genty odds to go, basically a pick between the Jaguars and the Bears. So Raiders probably getting scooped, so that might help make up their mind because a lot of people were wondering if they were going to do that as well.
The Bears put a lot of free agency dollars into their offensive line. They took 3 guys, and they have 2 second-round picks. So they could trade one of those second-round picks to the Jaguars. The second one of them is a little bit Chicago's second-round pick is worth a little bit more than the difference. So Jacksonville probably have to kick them like a 5 or a 6 in that deal. But Chicago could move up by using their second number 2 pick to Jacksonville, and that seems to work for both teams if Liam Cohen, the new coach of the Jaguars, likes Tet McMillan as much as the rumor is out there. So that I could see that trade. That makes sense for both teams. The Bears really want to give Caleb Williams that run game to go with it.
Well, at least have a level head because he really hurt his development last year, the lack of protection.
Yeah.
And it was that roster was constructed, that offense was constructed like a flag football team with no protection in mind. And 3 different linemen, so they have solidified that. They just gave what's the one they got from Moore from Carolina? They gave him a really big deal.
DJ Moore,
they brought in Keenan Allen. It wouldn't shock me if they get another wide receiver, but this is a light wide receiver class, so maybe this is the year to get the running back.
And Keenan Allen is gone now. Rome Odunze is still there, who they took out of Washington a year ago. They've also been rumored to take, if it fell to him, Tyler Warren. Ben Johnson going there could uses the tight end plenty. Use Laporte up in Detroit a whole lot. But this trade would make sense to me if they did this for both
teams.
Be
a nice safety valve. He's not a Brock Bowers, but he is, I would say he's got a pretty high floor. I think he's a pretty dependable guy.
I like him. I think he's a unique player. And before we go to break, Max, Shedeur Sanders, those numbers since we did the show yesterday are different.
Yeah, so there are a couple books that actually reset his position. So instead of being 10.5 or whatever it was, 14.5 early on in the draft process, there was a number put out at 21.5. Over-under for Shedeur Sanders' draft position, which is important because the Pittsburgh Steelers draft at 21. Yesterday, the over 21.5, so after the Steelers, was -200. That is now flipped. The under is -200. There is some conjecture that Mike Tomlin really likes Shedeur Sanders, and so maybe he will have a little bit more influence in that pick. Currently at the DraftKings Sportsbook, the team to draft Shedeur Sanders, the Steelers are the favorite at -150, right ahead of the Browns at 4-1.
Speaking of the Bears, nothing has changed though from their odds beginning of the week and early their first drafted player. It was plus 225 running back and plus 270 tight end. So basically a what and what not, a 1 and 1A. It's plus 225, plus 240 now, running back and tight end. So still kind of a 1 and 1A as far as their odds are concerned of what they're going to take first. So running back probably be gone if they stay put, and tight end maybe. So if they move up, we'll see. But it'll be interesting to see Johnson too. The the general manager is still in play there.
Mm-hmm.
So I would think that, you're going to get some input, but I think this is for them to move up and protect or try to give a better with your investment of Williams in mind is what I'm saying.
Correct.
It more reeks of the tight end than maybe the new coach.
Well, the second running back, Amarian Hampton, there's a gap between Genty and him, but it's not – I feel like it's less than what we thought it was. And the gap between the two tight ends, Colston Loveland – I think I called him Cortland Loveland in the first segment. Colston Loveland and Tyler Warren – there's hardly any difference at all now in a lot of these mocks. I mean, it's like a 3 to 4 pick. So if they take the second, now the difference
that's
between
because the Colts need
the Colts need.
Yeah.
Now the difference between the second and the third, now the gap gets a lot higher.
Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title for all of your real estate closings. 296-0060, full service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Fast, friendly, professional services, which you get when you dial 296-0060. Our great staff at Legacy Title: Ashley Bonham Donald, Mariana Broussard Haynes, Adrian Reese Galata, Michael Platt, Natalie, and Bradford Smith. Buying, building, refinancing, nobody chooses but you. Choose Chad Reynolds and Legacy Title. NHL playoffs, picks. We come back.
Horn. Get the horn.
Get your horn ready.
Get the horn ready. Live at Sammy's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's time. It's now Colucci time. Dwayne Colucci is back to give his best picks on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Colucci, what's up, man? How about the NHL playoffs? Boy, these playoffs just deliver every year, don't they?
Right? Jimmy Ott, forget about it. We're seeing great goaltending action. That's what's premium right now. That's what happens in the playoffs when everything tightens up. You see last night, Ottinger and Blackwood, unbelievable match between Dallas and Colorado. Dallas starting to find their legs, find themselves now. Montreal, Sam Montembeault, and Logan Thompson, just unbelievable last night, keeping the Capitals ahead in that series. And you're just seeing a premium of good goaltending. And the same with the Edmonton Oilers, the overrated Edmonton Oilers, where all you have to do is get a couple of victories because us as bookmakers set them so high, after a while it becomes a catch-up if you're betting on Edmonton. And that proved again as the Kings stuck it right to them. So, we're seeing some fabulous, fabulous hockey. Florida, Kachuk comes back, and they just dominated Tampa. Tampa's really going to have their hands full. Florida is built, this roster is built so well, and they could win definitely multiple Stanley Cups if everything goes right. And Kachuk sat out that period on LTIR, which is long-term injured reserve. They activate him right before the playoffs, and he's rejuvenated. Didn't even play, after the Nations 4. So he becomes a premium factor. He's their best player. And you look at it, he's rested for a couple of months. So Florida is very difficult. Bobrovsky knows what to do. This is going to be a tough matchup for Tampa tonight.
Florida, defending champs. Remember, Charlie Kachuk got hurt. It was such a great event, but a little bit at a cost. We talk about some of what you had, the Mets reliever, Diaz
in the World
Baseball Challenge.
Yeah.
So
missed the whole season.
That's the downside when we're talking about. We're trying to find the NBA All-Star game. If they make it a U.S. versus the world type of thing, you wonder if they would have same type of results. It can't hurt that product. There's no doubt about it. And look, the NHL All-Star game was terrible too. 12-11 finals and stuff like that when they had that. But Colucci, you talk about it, such a fine line, and so things can change. I mean, Dallas is, on the ropes of losing both games at home. They lost game 1, they're down game 2, and then they pull it out in overtime and then go on the road at Denver and win game 1. So, it changes so quickly. Now, that game 4 is not until Saturday, but we got 7 games, 4 tonight and 3 tomorrow night. Have you looked at any of the matchups, and who do you like?
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking at all the matchups. And tonight, like I said, Florida definitely looks strong. They look like they're built to make a long run to the Stanley Cup once again. Tampa Bay, there's not much travel in this series. You have to take that into consideration. And, Vasilevsky's getting older. Most of those guys on the roster are getting a little older, and it takes its toll. So, I'm looking at Florida, although you're not getting much, you're getting even money at my property, the Rampart and the South Point. So, you have to be careful, get down quick, because a lot of Florida money is going to start to come in. Also, the Ottawa Senators, look at this turnaround. Now, they're minus 130 in this series. Toronto, life and death to have this 2-0 lead in this series, and these games were very tight. Max Domi scored a key goal there in overtime to make sure that Toronto has this edge over Ottawa. Ottawa has played very tight here. This is an evenly matched game to where the goaltenders have both been, fabulous, and we have to keep our eye on, can Ullmark from Boston shut down Toronto? I think it's possible tonight. I like Ottawa at home. That's why you're seeing a minus 130 at the Rampart Southwood.
I've seen as low as minus 120 around here too, Kaluch, on nice. Ottawa.
Yeah,
okay.
So you could shop that. Yeah, we're the highest line actually in Las Vegas. So, definitely you could shop around on that one, Jimmy. The home team, they're always overvalued here. They got destroyed in the last game. They just weren't prepared. And this kid, Matt Boldy, is playing at an exceptional level for Minnesota. So the Vegas Golden Knights better find themselves. They played catch-up. They fell behind. They scored a couple of goals, but they looked really tired, guys. Trust me. The legs looked like they were in cement those last 8 minutes, and Minnesota was able to control and actually get the empty netter and beat them for 3 goals, in T-Mobile. That's huge for the Wild to get that victory. And now you're seeing 155 at the Rampart South Point on the Golden Knights on the road.
Right.
Vegas better win this one, guys. Their backs will be against the wall if they don't win this one. They could.
So you like Minnesota?
Well, I would take it from a value perspective. Yes, I would take 135.
Okay.
I'm seeing, Caesars 170 on the Vegas Golden Knights, but that's the Vegas money. You have to understand, here it's so undervalued. If you bet on the Knights, you're not going to make anything. Yeah, but in your neck of the woods, you could shop around, find a nice line. I like the Wild in this game. Very small, though. It's hard for me to go against my Vegas Golden Knights. They played good. They played really good in the first game, terrible in the second game. Same thing with the goaltending. It makes you wonder, guys, did they make the mistake not signing Logan Thompson and keeping Aiden Hill? Aiden Hill did win them a Stanley Cup, so I understand the whole philosophy there. But he's got to be a little stronger, especially when Minnesota takes it down the center of the ice and is in the slot. He has to be stronger. He has to make some key saves. You're seeing other goaltenders in the playoffs, Logan Thompson, case in point, Bobrovsky, Montebo. They're making monster saves. And Aiden Hill just seems to be at that, it's a playoff level, but it's not at a great playoff level. Winnipeg and St. Louis, I can't make much.
Okay, so wait, but Minnesota a pick or not? Because when Haney goes to the window at the Queen,
you're putting me under the gun. Yeah, I'll take Minnesota tonight.
Haney needs to know. Haney can't go to Tommy at the window and say, well, Colucci likes the window and said, do you want to bet it or not?
Handy, you bet $1 million per game. I didn't hear Handy make a statement yet. Handy, jump in here. Do you like Minnesota at home? There's always out.
when Jimmy Ott says asking for a friend, okay.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. When you see that beautiful Instagram model, what's her name? Yeah. Just asking for a friend. What's her number? What's her handle?
All right, who else you got?
Minnesota tonight. We'll take Minnesota tonight. The last game is too tough. I'm not going to handicap that game. If Bennington shows up, St. Louis will be very difficult to stop. That's why you're seeing the President's Trophy winner only 115 in this game. You gotta lay big on both sides. 115, 105 on the Blues. Blues are at home. They had that incredible winning streak. Now they came back down to earth. The Jets are a very, very difficult team to stop. Connor and Scheifele are scoring, so that is definitely a problem for St. Louis. And St. Louis only scored 1 goal last game, and it was tight. Came back to what we thought after the first game where it was an offensive explosion. Now you got 2 of the best goaltenders in the world, and the second game was 2-1. So it's hard to get a gauge and a read on this series. I'm going to lay off the Jets and Blues. So we're going with Wild, Senators, and Panthers tonight.
Wild,
Moving forward on Friday, I mean,
okay, and Florida. Okay, you did pick Florida. Okay, Florida, Ottawa, and Minnesota. Just asking for a friend. Okay, all right, okay.
Got it.
Okay. you mentioned the Golden Knights. You mentioned the Golden Knights, and they got that. Our buddy Randy McKay, he had the Wild plus the puck and a half, and he got beat on 0.1 second. You know, that goal that was they came back. Were you at that game when it came back and changed the score at the end for them to cover the puck line of game one?
No, I was there for the second game. But
because
I watched it on TV. I mean, they made the right call if you look on TV, but
right.
They originally called it 3-2, so I don't know. I mean, it hurt us, obviously.
Right, he wasn't arguing the call. He was just telling us about his experience that, he went to the restroom, he came back, and he lost. But anyway, 4-0 though, Kaluch.
Wait a minute. How do you go to the restroom at that point of the game? You're either leaving, walking out. I mean, I don't understand that philosophy. He was walking out.
I can't speak for a grown man's restroom habits.
You gotta go.
Guys, how much time is there left? 0.1. Okay, I'm going to go to the bathroom now with about 30 seconds left with all my money on the line. And I know Randy. Randy's a strong player. Come on, guy. What kind of a story is that?
We're going to tell him that.
I left when Kirk Gibson, me and my dad left when Kirk Gibson hit the homer. Well, you got to be at that point. I mean, it just don't make sense.
Hey, what about this? You speak of the Dodgers, huh? The Dodgers were an underdog last night.
Oh,
how about that?
Yeah, I tell you the truth.
How about the highest scoring team in Major League Baseball, the Cubbies, the number one in scoring differential, the Cubbies.
Haven't they split with the Dodgers 6 games?
Jimmy,
I think it's 3-3.
2-2. No, they won one more. They won. They won 4 out of 7.
4 out of 7. Okay.
Yeah, they lost 2 in Japan.
Okay.
They won the 2 in Chicago. They won 2 out of 3 in Chavez Ravine. Yes, I'm back on the bandwagon with the Cubbies. If you haven't noticed,
seems like the wind's been blowing out in Chicago for like the last month. That's why they're the leading scoring team in baseball. But to beat the Dodgers, that's huge, guys. I mean, they have a winning record against this juggernaut franchise that they've built, and that's a credit to the Cubs.
No, I mean, and they are that lineup is legit. I'm going to tell you that much. I mean, that lineup they got a star in Crow Armstrong. I mean, the guy from the Astros, the one Tucker he's going to make his money at the end of this year. I mean, Suzuki, they've got that lineup nobody has the top of the lineup, but they've got way more depth to their lineup than the Dodgers do. I mean, they really do.
I don't help. I mean, they don't have the pitching that can hold up. And you're talking about guys now. Now, what's that kid's name? Cole, whatever. I mean, come on. You're putting now him already better than guys like Mookie Betts and Ohtani. I mean, Ohtani just had a kid. Let's relax. It's still the Cubs, guys. Relax. It's early in the season.
The top of the lineup.
They have the better top of the lineup than the Dodgers, who start off with Ohtani and Betts. That's like sacrilege.
No, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. No, I said
they have a better top of the line. Top half of the line. That's
not what I said. I said the bottom of the lineup, Cubs are better. They are.
Okay, the bottom of the lineup I could go
yes.
for. Yes.
And that's what happened in the 10th inning with the Ghost Runner. With the Ghost Runner the other night, it was the bottom of the Dodgers lineup against the middle of the Cubs lineup.
So, there's a strong Cubs contingent on our staff at 104.5. I'm not on it, but between Jimmy and Hunt Palmer, I mean, the Cubs are well represented down here.
Good.
The Cubs
I'm glad, Charlie. You're the only smart one there.
Every radio station needs a Cub contingent. Yeah, we got
One World
plenty.
Series championship in 200 years. Let's jump on the bandwagon.
Hold on one second, sir. Hold on one second. Let me get to these standings here and see where the Cubbies have scored. They've outscored their opponents by 43 runs. The Dodgers are by 8.
Okay.
We're not even a Cinco de
And
Mayo
what's the
yet.
record? What's the record, gentlemen?
16-9 for the Dodgers.
16-9.
Oh, in my other
And they
team, San
still
Diego
have-
Padres are in first
still
place.
Have a better
Yes.
record. Yeah, but they still have a better record against your Cubs. So what is your point? And the Dodgers are playing terrible right now. I mean, all this. We have 80 more runs scored, but you have one more loss than the Dodgers.
You better jump on that team. You disregarded it as a kid. The Mets. The Mets are coming, baby. You gave up on the Mets when you were a kid to get on with the Dodgers, but the Mets, baby, 18-7, they're running away with the East. Just swept the Phillies. Charlie, what about that rule? So in the ghost rule, Philly gets a blown save. So they score one at the top of the 10th. The Mets start with a runner at second. You had a blown save for allowing that guy to score?
Yeah, they did. They did put that in.
That's dumb.
Well, the save statistic, we could do a whole show on that if we wanted to bore the hell out of people. But believe me, the 3-inning save, the 3-run thing. I mean, the save statistic is screwed up.
You see that little stuffed animal, that little the cubby bear running around with the big white flag with the blue W on it? Huh? It was blowing beautiful coming off of Lake Michigan, Kaluch. Huh? You see that? A little 2-game sweep of the Dodgers.
Yeah, that save statistic screwed up.
Is Kyle Tucker batting .314. That's 21st in the league. They're getting timely hitting, and we'll see where they are come October.
Number one scoring team in Major League Baseball, baby.
Yeah,
Cubs. You can't buy the runs. You got to score them.
In the NBA, where did it get Will Chamberlain? led the NBA in scoring for 80 straight years, and where did it get?
It is still April.
What does scoring mean?
All right, get your Derby talk in Oaks Day ready next week. We got Derby talk. Ottawa, Minnesota, and Florida. Thank you, Kaluch, at NY Bookie Dwayne.
Go ahead, go. Canadians, Friday night. We get one on the board, without a doubt. This Washington team, they're hanging on by a thread.
There you go. Thank you, Kaluch. We appreciate it. Don't forget our friends over at Total Maintenance. Total Maintenance now's the time to do like I did and call Total Maintenance at 480-1000 and get that AC check. Normally $179. You mentioned me, Charlie, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, and it's just $79. You wouldn't believe the before and after pictures. It's already cooling my house much quicker. It's going to lower your monthly bills. It's going to avoid a more costly, less convenient breakdown in the hot summer months. I mean, and extend the lifetime of your unit, man. Who wants to spend that money on a new AC unit? Get that AC tune-up. Just $79. Mention our name. Normally $179. 480-1000. Total Maintenance, 480-1000.
Live at Sammy's. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny. Live from Sammy's Grill on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Not raining, and maybe they'll avoid the rain down in Avondale for the Zurich. And how about this? 11 under through 10, Isaiah Linden and Kevin Velo. The Hoygaards are in second, 10 under, tied with Cam Davis and Adams Venson. They are through 15 and 14, respectively. And not too much of a hangover, just a big party for Rory and Shane Lowry. They are 8 under through 14 at the Zurich, who's dodging the raindrops right now. Live at lunch, live at Sammy's on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny. Live from Sammy's Grill on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And we return here at Sammy's Grill. Don't forget crawfish every day. Monday through Thursday, they start at 5 o'clock. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they start at noon. We're going to have them into the early part of the summer. So come on by here, Sammy's Grill on Highland Road. We're getting ready for our draft show tonight. Looking forward to getting the whole staff together and the NFL draft.
Max has more picks than all of us, huh?
He has a portfolio. He has a portfolio.
Hard to get action down on the draft in Vegas, but I know my man Matt Humans has found a way to get some action on this one. Matt joins us right now from VEASAN. Matt, how you doing?
Hey, just tuned in to the NFL Draft Kickoff show on NFL Network. I got to get ready. We got a 4-hour draft show tonight. I'll tell you the last bet I made on the draft, and this was last night. I've got 15 draft bets now. I bet the Bears first pick to be a running back last night at plus 150, and that's the last pick I made.
Plus 150? Oh, geez. I mean, it's
Max, what did it go down to?
Minus 175 now
Yeah,
to take Genty.
You got it. You got the right number.
And at Bet Rivers it was like plus 225. It was let me see.
Oh, I know. I mean, you gotta. We don't have Bet Rivers in Nevada.
Right.
But I had. I obviously had to have somebody out of state. A guy lives out in Pennsylvania, New Jersey area. Bet a bunch of stuff that's on, FanDuel or DraftKings or things like that. The Vegas market's been really dry for the NFL draft. I've probably made maybe 5 of the 15 bets in Vegas, most of them out of state. But the best I could find on the Bears last night was plus 150 on a running back, and it looked like, from what I was hearing last night, they were probably going to trade up to number 5 to get Ashton Genty, which is why I went ahead and made that bet.
So, Matt, at the top of the show, I mean, about 55 minutes ago, I was tracking this, and the Bears early in the week, their first pick was plus 225, a running back, tight end plus 245. And an hour ago, it was plus 225. It's now minus 121. So in 50 minutes, the Bears' first pick to be a running back has gone from plus 225 to minus 121. Yeah. So it's I guess they're going to go to 5, huh? I mean, 5th pick now. What is it, Max? What is the 5th pick for Genty's odds now?
Well, Genty's odds specifically for Genty to be drafted by the Bears is now minus 190. It's literally moved since we started talking.
Yeah. What was it earlier?
Just when we started the show, it was like minus 105.
105. Okay.
You've even got a fallback. If the trade falls through, it's not like the wildest idea they could take Hampton at 10 if Genty went at 5 to somebody else. So not only do you have the Genty part of it, you got a fallback, kind of a safety net, in my opinion. Yeah,
we were talking to Randy McKay last week, Matt, and he said, Randy, you got to get to Colorado and bet the draft. I mean, Nevada, it's and that's what are the limits? Are they putting limits on you at least? What are you seeing in Nevada right now?
You can bet basically a nickel or a dime. Some places even limit you to like 200 or 300. So
yeah,
it's it's been feast or famine in the draft for the last 7 years in Nevada. Feast for the bettors and famine for the bookmakers. And when the books lose, they take things away. You know how that goes in casinos. When the casinos lose, they take things away from you. And that's the way the NFL draft has been. But I really have to give a lot of props to FanDuel and DraftKings and even places like Bet Rivers that are putting up a lot of stuff on the draft still, right? And I hate it when bookmakers get scared and don't want to put things up because they've been losing. But these books, like I said, outside of Nevada, have done a great job of still giving you a lot of options on the draft. And again, you guys can bet this stuff today. You can walk up and bet it all the way up to the draft. We're going to have Johnny Avello of DraftKings on our show tonight. And DraftKings is going to be dealing the draft all the way up until it starts and then have in-game betting when it starts. In Nevada, everything had to be taken off the board on Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah, so 7 o'clock our time. 7 o'clock's first pick, Charlie? Yep. So, 7 o'clock our time, 5 o'clock Vegas time, 24. And how long have they had that policy in place, Matt?
Since the beginning, basically. I think maybe since the first or second year. I think maybe the first year they allowed it to go all the way up until the draft, and there was so much movement, so much information. You know how this goes with the information dump that comes in the last 24, 48 hours. And these numbers move like crazy. I think that rule was either instituted the first or second year. First of all, it's tough to stay on top of all this and the way lines are moving. And, no bookmaker wants to have to stay on top of all this information because you're going to get beat on the information. The bettors are going to get it before the bookmakers do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can't trust any algorithm to adjust it like you do for for games. I mean, and somebody somewhere knows for sure what's going to happen. And I think once that first trade goes down, I think it's going to trigger a number of other. I think it's been way too quiet, and when it hits, it's really going to hit.
I guess the biggest story is the Shedeur Sanders. He was over under was 8.5. Now, Max, what is it at now? 22.5?
21.5.
21.5
for the Steelers.
21.5, and then he's favored to go to the Steelers. We talked about when it was 4 teams that were all within plus 300 where he would be who he would be drafted by, and we figured that the Saints would just continue to fall in behind that in the Steelers, and that's exactly what's happened. Giants and
Cleveland.
Giants and the Browns were the other two, but Pittsburgh, I mean, will they have to move up, to get him at 21 where they are right now, Matt?
Well, I don't think so. I've read a couple reports out of New York today that Brian Dable and the Giants really want Jackson Dart, and that's the quarterback they've zeroed in on. I don't even know if the Steelers love Shedeur Sanders. It seems like the two teams that were really interested in Sanders were the Giants and the Steelers. And now it comes out that the Giants don't like Shedeur Sanders and don't plan to draft him at all. That came from a couple credible sources yesterday. I think one was, might have been Adam Schefter, somebody on ESPN. The Giants don't want Sanders. So the Steelers at number 21 can probably sit there, and he's going to fall to him. And that's why that draft position prop is where it is, because who knows if the Steelers even want to draft him at number 21. I've also heard the Steelers like Jalen Milroe. Alabama quarterback's getting a lot of buzz, and I actually bet him to go to the Browns. I bet Milroe to the Browns plus 240. After I listened to Browns GM Andrew Berry just rave about the athletic ability of Milroe, and the Browns got to come out of this draft with a quarterback and a developmental one at that, because they plan to start Kenny Pickett this year. And Tommy Rees, the offensive coordinator in Cleveland, was at Alabama with Milroe. So connect the dots, and I think Milroe to Cleveland makes some sense. Who was it said last night? I was watching the Rich Eisen show, and somebody said the options for Shedeur Sanders are really slim. There's not many teams that seem to want him or covet him, and the Steelers might be one. So that's one of those where when Shedeur Sanders' draft position prop was at 8.5 and the over was minus 500, that's where you could say just lay the 500, because he's not going in the top 10. And obviously that thing got adjusted big time in the last 2 days.
If either one of those teams, if the Steelers like either one of those quarterbacks, Dart or Sanders, it's worth noting that the Giants have 2 third-round picks. The value of the Giants' second-round pick and one of their third-round picks comes up to number 20, right where the Steelers are. So if they wanted to jump Pittsburgh for Dart or Sanders or anybody to get to Denver's pick, they've got an extra third-round pick that matches up almost exactly with the draft value chart to do that, to get back into the first round.
Max, where is Dart to go second, to be the second quarterback drafted? Matt, I know you have that as well. Do you know what?
This has moved significantly in the last hour or two, actually. Jackson Dart, just looking at one spot, minus 125 to be the second quarterback taken. That was plus 200 as recently as yesterday, maybe this morning.
Yeah, plus 300 when we did our podcast, a couple of weeks ago as well. So there you go. So what price you got on that? But plus 250, Matt?
$2. I got Dart.
$2.
Okay. To be the second quarterback off the board. And then I got to tell you, as of recently as 2 or 3 days ago, that did not look like a good bet. There are a lot of people predicting that Dart was going to fall out of the first round. And I did this radio show with 2 really sharp guys in Baton Rouge, and they said the Saints aren't taking the quarterback at number 9. I don't believe the Saints are probably taking a quarterback at number 9 either. But it seems like, and Jimmy, I sent you that report from CBS this morning. One of the reporters said Dart is not falling out of the top 10, that the Giants are going to trade back to get him. I don't know if they think they have to trade in front of the Saints maybe drop down, but I wouldn't doubt that the Saints are going to pass. Adam Schefter did have a report 2 days ago. I'm sure you guys saw it, where he said the Saints are hot and heavy on Jackson Dart. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if the Giants and Saints both thought they could get him maybe late in the first round and not take him in the top 10. But you know how this thing goes with quarterbacks. If you got a guy you like, you can't mess around too much and let somebody else get him. I remember when I think you guys can correct me if I'm wrong on this. I'm pretty sure Sean Payton had targeted Patrick Mahomes as the guy that was going to succeed Drew Brees. The Saints were sitting there with something like the 11th or 12th pick, and didn't the Chiefs make a trade and jump him to like number 11 and pick Mahomes?
They did.
Yes.
That's been a popular story. Of course, it's like saying, I should have bought Apple stock 30 years ago, but it's a good story, though.
It's convenient.
They're all sticking to it.
Yeah, I mean, Matt, but you told us also, and now Mickey Loomis had his much-awaited press conference yesterday, and he said, talking about Derek Carr, well, we're looking for clarity on his injury. Oh, well, that's nice. But you warned us.
Yeah.
Did he leave when he got benched? Did he leave the Raiders or something for the last 2 games?
Yeah.
Or how did that?
He did.
They sent him home, didn't they? Or did he go voluntarily?
I think it was a mutual parting of the ways, but then they did send him home because didn't obviously want him to suffer any sort of injury or whatever was going on with the contract situation at that point. But, for a while I defended Derek Carr, and then at the end, the last year or so, I said, okay, I'm out on this guy. I'm done. And then when some people thought he was going to be the savior for the Saints, I was like, yeah, good luck with that.
Well, it was basically Derek Carr or Daniel Jones kind of deal, and I said, well, I'll take that. And I thought he had when they lost to Cincinnati in the playoffs, I thought he had a pretty good damn year. I mean, he had a lot of fourth-quarter drives. So, but you warned us that, just kind of be careful. Matt, I can't think of and I think he has slipped, certainly his level of play also. It has something to do with lack of protection with the Saints also. But for a mid-level, mediocre type of level, the Saints fan base absolutely despise this guy. Burning his jerseys. It's they cannot stand this guy. They've been worse quarterbacks in the history of the Saints organization. Trust me, plenty of them. And they just hate this guy, man.
Well, I know a reporter who covers the Raiders in the locker room all the time, and he told me a few years ago, he said, Derek Carr is a phony, and he's not liked in the locker room. And, so I think that came to the surface. Some people realize that within the Saints organization and Saints fans as well. So, the Saints, I think they have to come out of this draft with a quarterback, too. And Jackson Dart's my favorite. Last year I kept saying Jaden Daniels, my favorite quarterback in that draft. Without a doubt, it's not Caleb Williams. Jackson Dart's my favorite quarterback in this draft. And I know you can find some flaws with him. You can watch that Kentucky tape or watch the end of the Florida game. But, you can do that with every quarterback. You can find some bad tape on him. Dart's got above-average arm strength and mobility. He's a smart guy. I've been watching him since he came out of high school in Utah. I actually think that would be a guy the Saints, Kellen Moore, could work with as a franchise quarterback. I like him. I think he's going to be better than all these other quarterbacks in this draft. You guys watch Milroe. I'll get your opinion. Yeah, he's a freak athlete, and he could be a great runner. But, man, I think he's got so long to go in terms of his development as a passer. I don't know how long it would take for Milroe to be a winning NFL quarterback. What do you guys think?
Well, Jimmy and I have argued, I think, more about Jalen Hurts than any probably player over the last 10 years, and we're decidedly different on him. But I think we're in lockstep on Jalen Milroe, and neither one of us think that he is going to be a starting NFL quarterback long term. I certainly don't. I think that the value in him would be as a Taysom Hill type of guy because he is a freakish athlete and he does throw the ball well enough just to keep you honest. But as a full-time starting quarterback, I don't see it. I don't see his ability to put the ball in the tight windows. At Alabama, he threw to a lot of wide-open guys. And I don't see that skill set from him. I'm not saying he's not an NFL player. You couldn't find something to do with him, but as a full-time starting quarterback, I'd pass.
Anthony Richardson, a little less athletic ability, a little less arm strength, but got more reps playing quarterback with the same mold. And it's not unusual there. They take these athletes and try and make them good quarterbacks, no matter what kind of throwing ability they have. I mean, that should be number one. And the problem is there's very few quarterbacks in college because you can get away with it in college, with limited accuracy, touch, and processing, things in decision making. As a thrower, you can get away with it, running with a run-dominated a quarterback. We've seen run-first quarterbacks win national championships in college football, but that's the whole trend where everybody's trying to turn these athletes into throwers and develop their passing. And man, I'm sorry, but the accuracy and touch, man, you kind of got it or you don't, and they do not.
No, you're right about that. And that's one thing I said about Drew Brees, watching him for so many years, is Brees was, so accurate as a passer, and you've got to be an accurate passer to make it in the NFL. And Anthony Richardson's a great comp by you. I don't think that's been talked about enough. That Anthony Richardson's a guy that Milroe kind of compares to, but Richardson probably has a stronger arm. And to me, when he was coming out, he was even more of a freak athlete than Milroe, even though I hear some of the NFL people now talking about Milroe might be the best running quarterback they've ever seen as a prospect. But when you run that much, you can't stay healthy. And look at Richardson. He can't stay on the field. He can't stay healthy. But it appears the Browns, like I said, appears the Browns really are in love with Milroe. And they picked 33rd, first pick of the second round. I wouldn't be surprised. That's a bet I made a couple days ago when I heard Andrew Berry, the GM, just raving about Milroe, so you have to make that bet. Don't you guys think, what are the Saints going to do at quarterback if they don't draft one here? And who knows, they may end up with somebody like Will Howard or Quinn Ewers way down the board. Can you go into the season with Jake Haener and Spencer Rattler, or are they going to sign a veteran? Are they trying to get a guy like Kirk Cousins?
It wouldn't be Kirk Cousins, but
Okay.
if they went in with the two they had, now you're looking at somebody like Carson Wentz, Teddy Bridgewater, as a veteran that you just kind of be there to just to kind of to babysit a little bit and probably go with Rattler. But I suspect that there will be another quarterback come out somewhere down the line if it's not even if it's not up at the top. I like Kyle McCord in the third or fourth round, but I can't tell you that the Saints do something like that.
We're back to the days, pre Sean Payton days with the Saints, Matt. Okay, where they drafted a two-way player. You think Travis Hunter's a two-way player? Russell Erxleben. He sucked at kicking, place kicking, and punting. Okay, they drafted him in the first round. So faith, hope, and Mickey Loomis, our guy, boy. I tell you. So
1971 since the Saints took a quarterback in the first round, Matt.
Yes.
We'll see if
and one other one for you, Matt. When you're talking about you peek into next year, I would bet against Arch Manning coming out next year. So they've been patient over time. He's been patient to wait his time at Texas. Is he going to just have one? And I think everybody values the amount of starts you have in college. He's going to come out with just 1 year of experience. I think he would be better suited. He'd be more prepared with two. And being a BMOC in Austin is not the worst quality of life as well. No. So I don't think he's going to come out next year.
Well, I'm kind of with you on that because they've been so, like you said, patient. You would have thought that Steve Sarkisian would have found ways to play Arch a little bit more last year if he were ready. I kept hearing that he's not really ready. And it's not like the Manning family needs the money, right? He can can make plenty of money playing college football right now, too. So I'm kind of with you. I wouldn't be surprised if Arch plays 2 years. It's a little funny now when you look back. At a year ago at this time, the odds were up. I think DraftKings had him up on the odds to be the number one overall pick in the draft. and there were guys like Shedeur Sanders, Carson Beck. None of those guys are even in the picture now.
You want to know what the quarterback
Right.
big
That's
board looks
right.
like for next year? I looked one up. This is just one random site that does NFL stuff. Arch is number 1. Nico is number 2. You can cross him out. Drew Allard, Drew Allar's number 3. Lenore Sellers is 4, and Garrett Nussmeier is 5.
Drew Allaire. What's the last pass he threw this past season? Oh, that was a good one, huh? Drew Allaire. Jeez. I mean,
And where was Cam Ward a year ago at this time? Not number 1. I know that.
no.
No.
Matt, good luck tonight, man. Hope you cash the tickets, and we'll talk to you next week. Thank you, buddy.
Okay, you bet. See you.
All right, don't forget our friends over at United Community Bank, the local way to bank big, just around the corner here from Sammy's Grill. We're in Highland and Star, but at Bluebonnet and Burbank is their newest location. They've been serving the people of southern Louisiana for 50 years, Baton Rouge to Golden Meadow. You know, running a business can be difficult enough without the right relationship with your bank. With United Community Banks, local business bankers, you're not just a number, you're a partner. Heath Meir, Nicole Glover, Hunter Creed, David Campbell, David Henry, and Prentice Wilkes. United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Live at Sammy's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny. Live from Sammy's Grill on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back here at Sammy's Live at lunch. We're also brought to you by the Thibodaux Store, 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux. Cajun cooking specialty cookware shipped right to your door. Huge amount of cookware, as well as your grills, the Big Green Egg cookers, and all the accessories down at the Thibodaux Store. And online, it's doitbest.com/Thibodaux Store to get some of your items that you can get from the Thibodaux Store.
Yeah, man. Boils, crawfish boils, all kinds of cookers. Including the high-performance cookers that can average boil in 7 minutes. So all your gadgets, ones with they've got the little nozzles to drain them at the bottom of them, different, paddles and scoop nets and things like that. They've got the Bayou Classic, line of boiling equipment as well. Oilless turkey fryers. You've got the Fleur de Lis outdoor boiling equipment as well for all different sizes, different types of boils. Outdoor grills. Not the outdoor grills, outdoor burners, double, single, triple burners that they have for outdoor cooking. You name it. Cajun Classic cast iron cookware as well. The McWare cookware. So, cooking like all the outdoor, all the Cajun cookingware the jambalaya pots and burners, on wheels, the whole shebang, man. It is, for an outdoor cook like myself, it is a little piece of heaven at the Thibodaux Store.
DoItBest.com/Thibodaux Store is your is the site to go to. All right, we had for LouisianaSports.net. They sent us a little thing this morning and said fill this out. I think they're going to publish it early this afternoon. Forget about all of the mock drafts and the whole thing. Who do you think the Saints are going to pick? And this is not.
That's not what it was.
What was it?
Who the Saints should pick.
Okay.
Oh, it should was all caps.
That's right. Okay. I've even confused myself here. Okay, then I'll ask that question. Who do you think the Saints should pick?
Should?
Based on your best guess as to who's going to be available, who should they
Russell Erxleben.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sean Knight.
Oh, gosh. Charlie, it's one of several. If they stay at, they should move down because they have. What you've talked about the different needs.
Yeah, sure.
They're not short of needs. They should not take a quarterback. Okay, I don't think Shedeur Sanders at 9 is your difference maker, or Jackson Dart. I've got my concerns. I think Matt and I differ a little bit, and it's not that Dart. I know he can't play. I don't know. Because in Kiffin's offense, he just doesn't require the processing and the progressions to make that you do. You're reading half the field. You got guys he sets up with the sequencing and his tempo with these guys that are. How many times do you see Ole Miss guys wide open? That doesn't happen. With regularity. I'm saying with these guys, and I do give him credit that I like his he's not going to make a living running the ball, but he showed you his toughness, when he did run the ball. But they not a quarterback. So if you want to get an edge, defensive, name them that falls in that's fine. There's multiple guys, but they got a lot of holes to fill, and so they should take, one of those two guys from Georgia. At that position. I'm kind of with you. I would have a little bit of a concern about the kid from A&M because of his lack of production, so I'm with you on that. So, I mean, yeah.
I don't know if you saw the quarterback school. Gruden is doing his quarterback school again now. He's with Barstool, but he had Jackson Dart and watched a little bit of that, and he got on Dart quite a bit about how many hits he took when he was running the football.
Well,
and he broke the film down. He's like, hey, you could have gone out of bounds here, and you didn't. Why? He says, you take hits like that in the NFL, you're going to be standing next to me. I'm going to be sitting here with my play chart.
Well, that's not the NFL.
Well, but he's saying you got to break this habit, okay? And he's not the first one. Joe Burrow had the same thing when he went in there. Like, you better quit taking these hits, okay? So that's just one of the things.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he's not going to do that at the next level.
It doesn't.
Joe,
it
if you look
mentioned his running ability, I'm saying, hey, be smart about it.
And Burrow was the same way. When did he go down? I mean, he never went down. Now his second year.
It got into that second year. He started to get down a little bit, and now he gets himself out of harm's way.
You went to the game where Aaron Rodgers even told us, "Man, what are you doing?
Stop!"
And
doing that.
If you notice your offensive line, you're going to get hit enough.
Yes.
And he gets down now, but it took him. And so if you use that by comparison, I guess it's fair to say, don't be like Burrow. Call Joe Burrow and ask him what he'll tell you, because he's at least as tough as you. But I think them guys coming over, they were both transfer quarterbacks. They didn't start with that program, and they were still trying to win over the program. Like I said, he's not going to make a living with his legs and to get at the next level.
So my answer to the thing was Mason Graham, the defensive tackle from Michigan, who was a week ago, even 3 days ago, I didn't think would be there at number 9.
If he's there at 9, of course.
Well, yeah, and the difference is that now if Ashton Genty is definitely going to go number 5, that takes him off the board for the Raiders, and that pushes probably an offensive line, because the Raiders are not going to take a defensive lineman, I don't think. That pushes an offensive lineman into that spot, and it potentially moves Graham down a little bit, and all the Saints needed was a little bit. I think there's a lot of difference in the two defensive players from Georgia. Jalen Walker I like a lot. He's sort of like a poor man's Micah Parsons. They're roughly the same size coming out. Their numbers, Parsons' numbers were better than Walker's, but if the Saints are going to play an odd front as an outside linebacker rushing pass rusher who can also play in coverage, I like Jalen Walker an awful lot. Mikael Williams, who has been mocked to the Saints in a lot of the places, I like less. I don't like him as much as I like Walker because the production wasn't there. Now, he was more productive than Sanders from A&M, but he had 4 sacks against Texas in 2 games and 1 sack against everybody else, and I think it was against UMass. He basically gets 1 to 2 tackles a game. Now, he looks the part. Okay, he's 6'5", he's 260 pounds, and he looks like a absolutely dominant football player getting off the bus. I just didn't see that as often. Same thing with Sanders at A&M. Walker made all over the place. And, Max, I think that was the guy you have liked throughout this process. If Jalen Walker were to get to the Saints at 9, I would love that pick.
Yeah, I would love Jalen Walker. There's a thought that his floor might be 8 with the Panthers unless they trade out of it.
And it still might be.
My favorite pick here, no doubt about it. If he's available, they should take him. And we saw Daniel Jeremiah yesterday mock him down to 15 with the Falcons. So that would make me sick if he fell to the Falcons. But Jalen Walker I like. Mikael Williams, to me, is the better non-productive player than Shamar Stewart.
I agree with that.
On that?
I agree, yes.
Because both of them, you question their production in college, but a little bit better. I mean, he killed Kelvin Banks. Let's be clear on that. Texas, it was up against Kelvin Banks quite a bit, which is, no slouch there.
Well, how come he couldn't beat anybody else?
It's a little bizarre, but he's got the build, and he's got, I see why the Saints are, to me, going to pick him, because the Saints love that physique that he's got, that the physical edge player that maybe doesn't have.
As a team, that might have been Georgia's best game this year, in the SEC championship game. I mean, they
played pretty well in Austin too. I mean,
no. Oh yeah. But yes, they killed them. But I forget. But I just thought that Texas. I don't know if Georgia could have stayed on the same field with Ohio State like Texas did in the playoffs.
Certainly not with the backup. Not with Stockton playing quarterback at that point. In the season.
But part of that is when the starter went down and they had Stockton, so they rallied as well.
Yeah.
But no, defensively they were very good in that game. We talked about FanDuel was the only one to put. You start off with Las Vegas with the Raiders and them shifting earlier in the week. FanDuel was the only one that had their team. They had running back plus 110. Basically even money, and then offensive lineman plus 270. It's off the board now with a lot of the Chicago Bears and all the odds moving, with them that they may, hop one spot ahead of them. So there we anyway, so them just trying to look around with the Saints. Do they have an update with the Saints real quick? No, the Saints have been taken off. Let me see if they have
the Saints at.
Pick number 9 is still available. Michael Williams plus 275, Jackson Dart plus
but
350.
the Saints was defensive line edge plus 170. This was earlier in the week, plus 170. Quarterback plus 250. Offensive line plus 380. Tight end plus 750. That was at FanDuel. They are off the board right now. Their odds are not available, and they're offering you about 20 teams, 20 of the 32, and about 24 to 32 at Bet Rivers of teams, and they're not on either one of them.
And I will say you have odds on favorites for for both the quarterbacks, Dart and Sanders. Dart now minus 135 to go to the Giants with the Saints, the second choice, and then Shedeur Sanders minus 170 to go to the Steelers with the Browns being the second choice. So right now, odds on favorite are the Saints will not get Dart or Sanders, but we'll see.
Don't forget, what's that, Charlie?
I was going to say when we come back, I'll tell you there's a new name that has moved into the number 2 favorite spot to go to the Saints behind Mikel Williams. I'll tell you who that is when we come back.
Friends over at Relief Windows for windows, doors, siding, and shutters. Let's talk about the doors, exterior doors, French doors, sliding glass doors, you name it. The doors, our selection of replacement doors are all created using the highest quality materials available, designed to provide secure and durable barriers between the outside and the inside of your home. Doors come in a variety of materials, each with its unique advantages. They'll come out and do a computer rendering and kind of custom make that door for you. Exterior doors, French doors, even the sliding glass doors. That's right. Sliding glass doors are where form and function intersect. Enjoy the beauty of natural light in your home with the comfort that comes with insulated, energy-efficient glass. Trust Relief Windows to provide high-quality products that perform and enhance the comfort of your home in all climates and seasons. Look at all of our doors, the sliding glass doors, windows, siding, and shutters. Go to reliefwindows.com. Relief Windows, 288-8138, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Live at Sammy's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny. Live from Sammy's Grill on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Today's show also brought to you in part by Coastal Capital Advisors, your full-service financial planning when it comes to retirement. No two situations are alike, so let Coastal Capital Advisors tailor a plan for your family's needs, no matter your age or your financial situation. Coastal Capital Advisors will work with you and build a lifetime relationship that keep you up to date on everything that's going on in the market. I know that's what they've done for me for a long time now. So, for more information, contact Philip Fontenot and his staff, 337-981-1376. Online, coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, member FINRA, SIPC. Bet Rivers now has Mikel Williams from Georgia as the favorite to be the number 9 pick. Now, the further you get away from the top of the draft, the longer the odds get because there's a lot more volatility. Williams is plus 250, but that's
pretty
name.
Hard, though.
But here's what's changed: the number 2 player on this list is now Tyler Booker at plus 500. I would understand this pick. It's not sexy. He's an offensive guard from Alabama. He's 6'4". He's 320 pounds. He's the top guard in the draft, and the Saints have a gaping hole at left guard right now. Booker, I'll read you the quick scouting report. Given his coordination, his length at guard, his IQ and stunt vision, his power in a phone book, Booker could end up selected in the middle of the first round and will be a long-time starter in the league. Quality power, gap, and inside zone blocker. And at Alabama, an interior offensive lineman, he's seen quality competition. That would be right out of the Ravens school of drafting, which is take somebody who may not be an all-pro in the first round, but is almost guaranteed not to be a bust. Or the guy with the highest floor. Ozzie Newsome used to preach that, and I love the way Ozzie drafted. That wouldn't be sexy, but it would fill a big need with a solid player that is unlikely to be a bust. That wouldn't get any headlines, but that would probably be a real solid. It's a little early for him, maybe 6 or 8 picks early for him, but it wouldn't be like this gigantic reach either.
Third choice at the Queen, the DraftKings outlet at plus 650. Mikael Williams, just like Bet Rivers, plus 275, the favorite. A player in between there, plus 350.
Is it Dart?
Yes. Yeah. Jackson Dart. Yes.
Dart and Sanders have, and Shedeur Sanders, what kind of range we got on them right now?
A lot.
20 picks?
A lot.
25 picks?
A lot, man. A lot. It's everybody's
going to fall out of their chairs if the Giants take Shedeur Sanders at number 3.
It's pretty weak quarterback class, man.
And when that happens, teams reach. The quarterback needy teams reach. And I'll give the Saints credit if they don't. It would be a huge gamble if they did. I mean, I could understand it. I get behind it, get the fan base excited. Maybe Kellen Moore sees something in one of these two guys.
The fans want skill position guys.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it would be a very, very risky pick.
We have seen the total number of quarterbacks 2.5. It's shifted from under yesterday to over today. So it does seem like the quarterbacks may be getting more hype to go at least in the first round between Sanders perhaps at 21 with the Steelers, Dart perhaps with some team trading.
It's basically pick 'em.
It's now minus 175 for over 2.5.
Over 2.5. Okay, because it was the under was
slightly
minus
favored.
Yeah. Now when we did the podcast a week and a half ago, I had plus 250. So it was
on the under.
It was a big. Yes,
correct.
On the under. So I sure wish these guys would slide. Can we dig up some dirt, Charlie?
Can I give you one position that might slide just a little bit? I'm seeing now is tight end. They're highly thought of, Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland. But if Warren doesn't go 10, which is what some people thought the Bears might do if they didn't move up. Now if they're moving up for Ginty, and maybe the Jets take a Mason Graham who's falling or an offensive tackle, the tight ends are well thought of. Some people have them, both Loveland and Tyler Warren, as a top 10 prospect in this class. But if Warren slips to the Colts, who are very much tight end needy at 14, you might have a lot of people, a lot of teams who want to trade up for the other one in Loveland.
Led by Denver. Denver wouldn't be the only team like that.
I think the Rams, the Chargers would apply. You bring back Jim Harbaugh with his former tight end at Michigan. So there's some of that there. I think we could see tight ends. If they fall, there could be a surge of teams who are interested in a falling tight end.
If Jim Harbaugh wants to take a Michigan guy,
who's the third tight end?
He's got
the third tight end.
Mason Taylor,
who
is currently about even money to be a first rounder.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Eagles have a tight end need at 32. Maybe the Chiefs is what I'm kind of thinking.
What's wrong with Goddard?
Goddard, there's some questions, I think, about his future with contractual stuff.
I have heard Taylor to the Chiefs. That has been mentioned that this is probably Kelsey's last year and that they could groom him to take over for Kelsey after this season.
That's been my big push. The Chiefs are 25-1 to take a tight end first.
The Broncos need a tight end, too.
Yeah, they get up and get Loveland as a second tight end, and that would put Taylor in play for the next tight end needy team.
Does it look like my Dolphins taking an offensive lineman? Man, they might have to reach, huh? Because it looks like 3 are going to be going by the time they pick, huh?
Yeah, Banks and Mimbu perhaps go. Maybe we'll see Mimbu fall, depending on what the Raiders end up doing.
Campbell, Mimbu, and now Banks. I mean, by the time Miami gets to pick in, I mean they have to protect Tua, and that's coming. Even the owner, who was Tua's biggest supporter and a pretty important supporter, that's why he was going to get him. But their numbers with and without him, man, are just unreal.
You got another 4 or 5 offensive linemen with first-round grades.
They did bring in your boy Zach Wilson, though, huh? As a backup.
Did they?
In Miami. Yeah.
Patrons saying a lost cause. They took Josh Rosen, too.
Yeah, there we go. Sammy's Grill. Gonna order up a little bit. A little Acadiana catfish, huh?
Let's eat.
Catfish, chicken fried steak, hamburger steak, little red beans and pork chops. Those pork chops and red beans are outstanding. Sammy's Grill, the original. Hey, we're doing crawfish Monday through Thursday starting at 5 p.m. Friday, Saturday, Sunday starting at noon. We're going to be doing the ball and crawfish, and the prices have gone down as well after the big Easter rush. Prices are cheaper over here at Sammy's. That's both of our Sammy's locations. That is here on Highland Road and also on Old Perkins Air Airline in Prairieville.
Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny. Live from Sammy's Grill on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Crawfish every day here at Sammy's. Monday through Thursday comes out at 5 o'clock. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday comes out at noon here. Sammy's on Highland Road. Big draft party tonight. Most of the staff will be there tonight at Don Juan's Cigar Bar. We're going to fire up the broadcast.
Let's go,
at 7 o'clock. Always a fun time. It's the one time a year that the entire staff it joins the broadcast together. So we're looking forward to that. Saints with the 9th pick. We'll see if they, we're not going to be able to let our guard down after that because they could trade back up into the first round. There's a lot of teams that are in that.
Saints trading down. That would be
trading back into the first round. Again. Tomorrow we're at Rufino's, our usual Friday haunt until 7 o'clock tonight for Max, who's headed to the Zurich. For Jimmy, I'm Charles Griffin. For Jordan back in the studio. Thank you. Good afternoon. Stay tuned for Taylor Sharp subbing in for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.